Okay. This is State versus Jaleel Anthony Morgan, accused of battery, family violence, and cruelty in the third degree from January 21st, 2025. His accusation is 25 CR 353G. Mr. Morgan, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Any prize?
4 cycles out of Georgia and 2 cycles out of New York. Last arrest was May 6, 2023 out of Snellville, Georgia, for sale of marijuana, possession and use of drug-related object, and possession of a firearm or knife during. No disposition was listed for that case, Your Honor. 1 prior conviction from 2018 for driving while license suspended or revoked. Nothing further.
Ms. Fawcett?
Yes, sure, Your Honor. To begin, the defendant and the victim in this case, the victim's name is Ms. Katisha Bell. They both share one child together, and they currently do not, at the time of the incident, they do not reside together. What happened on January 21st is that the defendant showed up at the victim's residence. He became upset. I believe that she had company. The defendant then attempted to enter the victim's bedroom, even though the victim tried to deny him entry. He ultimately hit her in the face, which resulted in her having bruising and swelling to her mouth, as well as a busted lip. The recommendation is $1,500 surety bond for the battery family violence charge, and then also $1,500 for the cruelty to children charge, for an aggregate bond of $3,000 surety bond. We would also ask that he stay away from the incident location of 5555 Roswell Road here in Atlanta, and that he have no further contact with victim Katisha Bell, and that there are no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on probation. While on bond. And I would like to announce for our victim in this case, Ms. Katisha Bell.
Right. I do see a Katisha on Zoom. Ms. Bell, if you want to address this court, you'll need to unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. McLean. Oh, there we go. Ms. Bell, please unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Bell, did you want something to add?
Yes, I just wanted to say we do.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Do you and Mr. Morgan live together?
No, ma'am.
And do you share, how many children do you have between the two of you?
We have one.
One child. How old is the child?
He's 2.
2. And has Mr. Morgan filed a legitimation action with respect to the child?
I don't think so. I think he just signed a birth certificate.
All right, you understand under Georgia law, he has no right to visitation or custody to the child unless he files a legitimation action.
Yes, and I would like him to do that. We never ever had any type of issues like this before. I think it was kind of like a just emotion thing, and like, I can't do anything about the charges now. But even though I asked him not to press any charges, I just wanted to make a report. He's never showed any type of actions like this before. I think it just kind of was a, split of the moment type of thing. I definitely want him to be able to see his son and be there and do everything like that. Like I said, he's never shown any signs of anything like that before or ever put, like anything like in jeopardy of any type. So, I don't know what say so I necessarily have, but I definitely believe in like it'll never be any type of thing like that ever again.
Well, it's unfortunate it happened, but you hit the nail on the button that it generally stems from emotion things. And well, we'll see what we can do. Mr. McLean, anything else to add?
Yes, Your Honor. My 28-year-old client has been studying cybersecurity, so he's got some college already, but has not yet got a 4-year degree. He is a Longhorn server. He's done that for a while. For a year before that, he worked at a Marriott, also in food services and other hotel services. And before that, a different restaurant for a year. I think it would be fair to say, I didn't cross-examine anybody, but I mean, I think it would be fair to say that he does provide for his child. we would ask the court to consider a signature bond with appropriate conditions.
On the battery family violence, it's going to be $2,500. The cruelty is $1,000. The total bond is set at $3,500. It is a signature bond through pretrial services level 2. No further violent contact with Katisha Bell, and he is to stay away from 5555, I think it's, yeah, Roswell Road, where Miss Bell and her child lives. In order to have any contact with the child, Mr. Morgan will need to file a legitimation action with the appropriate superior court and get a court order to establish the joint visitation and custody. And Miss Bell, at that time, you can also file a cross claim for child support, or you can open a separate child support case. Also, within 30 days of being released on your signature bond, you are to enroll in a qualified domestic violence intervention program, and you are to attend all 26 classes without missing or skipping any of those classes. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons and firearms. Thank you.
Yari, can you repeat that bond amount?
$2,500 on the battery family violence and $1,000 on the cruelty. $3,500 signature bond to pretrial level 2. He reports to pretrial twice a month.
Thank you.
DVIP and a legitimation requirement. All right, Ms. Bell, you're free to leave the Zoom. Next case, please.
And that would be at ACDC.
All right, thank you. Deputy Francois, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge Law. I do have a quick announcement for position number 3. It's Brianna Beard. She waived her appearance.
Video off and your audio on mute. Please keep your video off and your audio on mute. Otherwise, the host will do it for you. All right, that was position 3.
6, Your Honor.
Yes. This is Anita Mason, accused of simple assault, family violence, case number 25 CR 356C. Ms. Mason, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney today will be Mr. McLean. Any priors, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 7 cycles. The last arrest was May 9th, 2024, out of DeKalb County for battery family violence. No disposition was listed, Your Honor. That appears to be an open case. 1 prior conviction from 2001 for sale of marijuana, and nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Who's our prosecutor? Is it Ms. Mokeke?
Your Honor, I'll be handling it, Ms. Fawcett.
Okay, all right. Good morning. Good afternoon, Ms. Fawcett. Yes, please proceed. What's your recommendation for bond?
Yes, Your Honor. My recommendation for bond is a $3,000 surety bond to stay away from 3242-14 Spanish Trail in East Point, Georgia. No further contact with Marcus Hatcher, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Mr. McLean? I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to give me a very brief recitation, that would be helpful.
Yes, Your Honor. On January 21st, 2025, officers were dispatched to the location of 3242-14 Spanish Trail in East Point, Fulton County, in response to a 911 call from the defendant's neighbor. There was commotion coming from the apartment, and the victim, Mr. Marcus Hatcher, had reached out to the neighbor for assistance due to the defendant having pepper sprayed a substance into his eye.
Okay. Marcus Hatcher, if you're on Zoom, this is the time to unmute or start your video. All right, Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Ms. Mason is 43. She has an education that includes high school and Gwinnett Tech, medical office assistant work. And she has worked as a prep cook at Ritz-Carlton for the last 6 months. And for several years before that, did turnkey operations for real estate companies. Your Honor, considering what her arrest record is, and considering the facts of this case, her stability, her ability, if the court wishes her to live elsewhere, although it's different apartment numbers, really. If the court needs her to live elsewhere, she can. I've contacted her mother. She would ask the court to consider a signature bond. Thank you.
She lives at apartment 13?
Well, you know, the police report started off talking about 13, 14, and 15. So
I
she
think
lives.
14 is the neighbor who called, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
Isn't 14 for the neighbor who called?
Right.
Okay.
There was commotion in 13, 14 as well. He lives in actual 15. I believe she is on the lease and pays the rent and is the only person on the lease. However, if the other person lives there, she could live with her mom.
Okay. Bond is going to be set at 1,000. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Marcus Hatcher, and to stay away from 3242 Spanish Trail. She can return to her apartment number 15, I guess, one time only to retrieve her personal belongings. And then after that, she needs to update the court with her new mailing address. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons.
Your Honor, can she return after an eviction takes place?
No, you said she has a mom, so
Right.
you
But I
said
mean,
she lives away from, if the victim lives at number, I really couldn't make head or tail, but I think the victim lives in apartment 13.
I guess what I'm saying is if he's not in apartment 15, can she live there?
Oh, if she wants to go back with an officer and the officer verifies that a Marcus Hatcher does not live at that apartment complex, then she can return to the location.
Very good. Thank you.
But no further contact with Mr. Hatcher. Thank you.
Thanks.
You gotta see in the event.